Zuni religious leaders over the past 12 years have successfully handled the problems of repatriation of their religious objects by negotiating with national, state institutions and with private collectors and art galleries. For many years, students, curio collectors, art dealers, anthropologists, and tourists bought and traded objects of sacred nature to the Zuni people. Some people took wrongfully, and in some cases illegally, objects of sacred nature to the Zuni people. Many of these objects found their way into various museum collections, private collections, both here in this country and overseas. Many of these objects were treated simply as art objects or curio objects or relics. Such treatment shows no regard for the true nature of the significance of these religious objects in Zuni culture. This insensitive treatment of these highly religious objects has long been the concern of the religious leaders, the elders, and the tribal council. On May 30th, 1978, in consultation with all the religious leaders, the Pueblo Council passed a resolution to support the religious leaders and their position. There are two facets to the tribal position. One is to seek the return of some very special religious objects. Second is to secure the protection and preservation and the curatorial treatment of objects now in museum collections. This position, the position of the religious leaders, is not a demand, but rather it's a request for negotiation with museums and institutions holding these sacred objects. The intention of the Zuni tribe is not to raid a museum's collection. In only one case to date has legal means been used to secure an object that was being sold at a private auction in New York City. Since 1978, the official position of the religious leaders and the tribal council has been to secure objects of communal ownership. The objects that are in concern are the ahayuta in Zuni language. These are the highly sacred objects, twin gods, that have been stolen from their shrines. These objects are communally owned. No one, not even the people who produce them or create them annually, or the tribal officials, or the religious leaders, have any right to these objects. If they are removed from their shrine, they are considered to be illegally removed. No one, but no one, can own, give away, or sell these objects. They are completely communally owned. It is of great joy to the war chiefs, the Deer Clan, and the Bear Clan that over the past few years, various museums and galleries have voluntarily returned ahayuta to their rightful place on the Zuni reservation. To date, 41 ahayuta twin gods have been returned from 27 institutions and private collectors. In 1980, the Museum of New Mexico returned four war gods to their rightful place on the Zuni reservation. The other position of the Zuni Tribal Council and the religious leaders is to secure proper curatorial treatment of these religious objects in existing museum collections. Almost all objects that are created for religious purposes, no matter how small, no matter how insignificant it may seem to others, are of great religious value to the Zuni people. They are the essence of Zuni culture and Zuni religion. These objects are treated in very special ways by the Zuni people, and therefore the Zuni religious elders and the religious leaders have categorized a number of treatment levels for purposes of discussion and treatment. In the case of the community-owned objects, especially the Twin War Gods, because of their theft and illegal removal from the Zuni reservation, their return is being strongly requested. As for the other items of sacred and religious nature, the tribal leaders are ready and available to consult with any museum who may have these items for curatorial and sensitive treatment. So far we have been talking about material culture. Since 1978, another category of religious nature has been under scrutiny. This is the human remains, burial offerings, and grave goods. In September of 1989, the Sensitive Materials Committee informed the Zuni people through the director that they had in their possession human remains from the Zuni lands. The reason that the Zuni people were selected for this test case was because, one, the human remains that were in the collection were definitely identified as being from Zuni lands excavated by the museum staff. Second, since about 1986, the Zuni people has a tribal ordinance in place that handles grave excavations and recoveries. Third, the material cultures treatment was well in place. The only thing that was not known was how the Zunis felt about repatriating existing collections, existing human remains collections, and grave offerings in existing museums.